Are you at a place within your home where you were just pulling your hair out from the constant conflict, the endless friction between your kids and how much you have to intervene to get them to get along? If that sounds like your home, I'd like to invite you to stay for today. Today, I have a wonderful episode for you, and I'm going to be sharing with you the secrets to get your kids to willingly spend time together without fighting. I'm Dolly Freeman. I'm the host of Influencing Your Kids Show, and today I like to walk you hand in hand and help you to discover the importance of sibling bonding, as well as how to foster un or autonomy, I think is how you say it, through sibling time, as well as the secrets to get your kids willingly spending time together. So, if that sounds like something you need, I invite you to grab your paper and pen and take some notes because today is a big topic. Okay, let's get started by letting me give to you the understanding of the importance of sibling bonding. So there are three benefits to you as a mom, as well as your children, in building these relationships together with the focus of bonding. So, number one benefit is that your kids are going to become faithful friends, meaning that in good times and bad, they're going to stick together. Also, they're gonna be loyal comrades, which means that they're gonna have each other's back. They're going to make sure that, they're there for them when they need them the most. In addition, there's gonna be trusted confidants, which means they're going to keep one another's private things private, as well as, keeping their reputation importance. And if I don't know about you, but those things are very important to me in my relationships. And the benefits of this is when your children learn how to do this under your own roof, they will actually carry those characteristics of being a friend into their adulthood and it will benefit them long term. So if that sounds interesting to you, then I really want to encourage you of a framework that I've created for you to help you actually get your children willingly spending time together. We'll get about into that in a moment. But first, in order for this framework that I'm about to share with you to work, there are three things that your kids need to stop doing. So if you don't mind, I'd love to share with you these three steps your kids need to stop doing to get along. Number one, they not need to stop fighting. Your children need to stop being verbally and physically rude, insulting, or hurtful to one another for fighting to stop. That means you as a mom must be aware of when these things are happening so that you can actually influence your kids to get along. The second thing is to stop ignoring. Your children need to stop pretending that they didn't hear them or see them, or even intentionally drowning them out with electronics. Then you need to help your children to stop provoking one another. That means your children need to stop pushing one another's buttons, as well as getting them to intentionally get upset with them. So if you can get your children to do these three things, stop fighting, stop ignoring, and stop provoking one another, what I'm about to share with you will make a big difference. Okay, so if you haven't gotten your paper yet, grab it now because I'm about to share with you the sibling bonding framework. This framework, the whole purpose behind this framework is to get your children to a place of autonomy, which is that self directing and self-governing. So when a child is in that place of being able to govern themselves because they, number one, know which way to go and they know it's the right thing, you're going to find it easier for you as a parent to take a step back and just be watchful for things that you should be on top of and parent through, or that you should just allow the bonding to happen without you being involved. So step number one in the sibling bonding framework is to develop shared interest. When you encourage your children to participate, to explore their siblings' interest, their hobbies, their passions, what's going to happen is empathy is going to start to form in them. And when they start thinking of other people's interests before you know it, there can be an introduction of interest that can actually perk your children to want to spend time with them. This has happened naturally within our home and in our children's relationship. Is we actually recently had this conversation about how all of our children were actually carrying the other person's interest for years until they got um, into their teenage years. And it's because they looked up to their sibling. They really wanted to be much like them. So if you can get your children to be more interested in what their siblings are doing and vice versa, not just a one-way road, but a two-way road, you're going to help develop those shared interests. But it starts with first getting them interested in what the other person is doing. During this process, I want you to explain how common passions can naturally draw siblings together, meaning that you want to foster one child to actually come alongside the other one and share the excitement, introduce to them why this is so exciting to them, and share their passion with the other one. That requires one sibling to be actively listening to the other one. So encourage them to make it interesting for the child. Okay, step two, allow choices. We as parents need to be to the place where we are pre approving things that our children can do together, but we need to stand out and let them choose for themselves what they're going to do with their time. So, if you can highlight the importance of the self governing or the autonomy, in fostering the positive relationships, what you're going to find is that you have given the significant freedom for siblings to choose what they like in the moment that they like it and to work together in it. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't realize how important this was as I was setting it up in our own home. But I did see the benefits and the freedom it gave to not only me as the parent, but to our children by giving them the time and the tools for sibling time to build that bonding together. In the number three, collaborate projects. This is something that I became very aware of pretty early with my older two children who are 22 months apart from each other, is that when they had a project, not just an activity together, but a project together, that their bonding became so tight that it was almost difficult to separate them. They loved doing things together, from building forts to clearing out a part of our woods, to so many aspects in their day, because they had a long-term project that wasn't going to just be done in 20 minutes like a game would be or another activity. This took sharing ideas and hearing each other's ideas and working together. So I want to encourage you to really empower your children with collaborative projects. This might mean you have to give them a little more tools and a little more space in their time to work on these projects. Now, I will also tell you, as a homeschool mom, it was in this collaborative projects that my children began to become quite motivated to get their schoolwork done sooner, so that they had more hours in the day to work on this project. So a project has a higher value to siblings spending time together than if they were just doing an activity together. So as you're working through this, I want you to think about those things. And then step number four, rotate roles. What I mean by this is suggest taking turns being the leader of making the choices of what's going to be done during that sibling time. This is something that I have done with our children, but last summer when our two nephews stayed with us and went camping with us, it was pretty quick to see how they began to argue over what they were going to do in their free time. They had a lot of time during camping, but what was interesting is one always didn't want to participate. And you might have that within your home dynamic. One never liked the ideas of the other. And that role kind of switched from time to time, But when I recognized what was going on, I rotated roles quickly. And I started with the one who didn't like any ideas. So I'm like, you get to start first and you get to decide what's going to be happening during this time period. And then at the next time, when you guys have some free time to do what you want, this child is the next in line. And you have to do what they say to do, with the exception of one time. You could say, I would rather not participate in this. I'd rather do something on my own. They had the option of doing that one time, but it was not one time. Every time. It was one time, I think a week, they got to say, I don't want to do that because I think we were only together for about a week. So they had one exemption. And what ended up happening is they were working together really, really well. And they were being very careful about when they were able to use their one exception. So use those rotating roles to really help your children learn how to spend time together willingly and without fighting. Okay, so I'm going to walk through the framework really quick. The sibling bonding framework. The sibling bonding framework, step number 1, develop shared interest. Step number 2, allow choices for what's being done in their time together. Step number 3, collaborate projects for them to work on together. Step 4, rotate roles for decision making for when they're spending time together. Using that framework, you will really see a significant change in the delight of your children spending time together. And yes, you will not see as much fighting in the process. Okay, let me go ahead and get in the comments and see if you guys have any questions or comments in today's topic. Hello, Elizabeth. It's good to see you here today. This particular topic is really close to my heart because I had to spend a lot of time knowing that my husband and I really worked really hard from the beginning. We made the decision early on that our children were not going to be physically mean to one another, and we didn't want them to be dominating just because one's older. We both have had sibling issues in our life where the older sibling was very dominating and mean and even physically abusive at times to us. And so we wanted to be sure that we did not have our children doing that in our family. So that intention is what helped me actually spend those times putting them together and helping our children make wiser choices by me being intentional with the time that our children spend together. As a homeschooling family, our children are together 24/7, 365 days a year, 18 or more years. So it is really a system you really have to work hard on in intentions and to be able to really help them build these relationships and bond together as siblings. Okay, I don't see any comments today. So thank you for joining me on the Influencing Your Kids show. And I look forward to sharing with you the next time.